Happy Monday! Today we are going to practice a little more with drawing conclusions, and we're going to be doing our visualizing activity, which means I'm going to be reading to you and you're going to need to listen for the details so that you can visualize and create a mental image. The title of our story is A Dinner Surprise. Okay. So listen as I read to you the story, A Dinner Surprise. And while you're listening, I want you to think about Alice. She's going to be one of the characters. I want you to think about whether you think she is smart or not, and why, or why not she's smart. Support your answer. And I also want you to think, or try to think about this question. Does Jeremy like Alice? And think about the clues. So we're going to read, and then we'll discuss a little bit more. So, go ahead and prepare to visualize. And sometimes in the classroom, we like to shut our eyes. And the way we can visualize is because we have background knowledge. So we go ahead and use our background knowledge and the information that we listen to in the story, and that helps us create the mental image. All right. A dinner surprise. Alice's big brother Jeremy was miserable. His soccer team had lost the last 2 games and the championship match. So maybe if you play soccer, you're having a connection right now because you know how it feels to lose a game. After the game, their mother ordered Chinese takeout. Jeremy's favorite food. Still, Jeremy would not talk or smile. Alice knew that Jeremy was a good player, even if he didn't have anything to celebrate today. She had gone to all the games and watched him play. One day, she hoped to play soccer just like her older brother. Jeremy barely touched his noodles, and he only picked at his sweet and sour chicken. That's when Alice got a brilliant idea. When dinner was finished, Alice asked her mother if she could prepare the Chinese fortune cookies. She knew that Jeremy would at least eat one of them. She went into the kitchen and unwrapped one of the cookies. She carefully pulled out the piece of paper inside the cookie. Yeah, if you ever had a Chinese fortune cookie, you know they kind of, and then there's the paper and your fortune's on the paper. So maybe you're making a connection. Maybe you've been to a Chinese restaurant or had Chinese takeout. Then she wrote a sentence on a strip of paper and slipped it inside the cookie. Finally, she put the cookie on a plate and took it to Jeremy. Wonder what's going to happen. Without paying any attention to his sister, Jeremy cracked open the cookie. He read the fortune, and for the first time in 2 days, he laughed. His mom and dad looked at him. It says this: "A good winner knows how to lose," he explained. Jeremy looked at Alice. "Were you messing around with all the cookies?" he asked. Alice started to speak, but Jeremy interrupted her. "It's true," he said. "I have to learn how to lose. One thing I haven't lost is a great sister. And I'm grateful for that. Thanks, sis, for cheering me up." I like that story. How cute. I love their relationship, that Alex and Jeremy are supportive of one another. All right, so we're going to be making some conclusions about the story. Now, let's review this chart. This is from last week, and it's about drawing conclusions. So we use information from the text, plus what I already know, so things you already know, your background knowledge, and you can draw a conclusion. So putting it all together, and you draw conclusions. So I'm going to put that up here. Okay, so let's see. As I read this story, I looked for clues about how Alice feels about her brother, Jeremy. Jeremy is upset about losing the soccer games, and Alice finds a way to cheer him up. That tells me that Alice really cares about her brother. So, using the clues from the story, the information from the text is that Jeremy is upset about his games, losing his games. And what I know is that Alice is trying to cheer him up. So I can put the information together And that tells me that she really cares about her brother, because when somebody cares about somebody else, they are concerned about their feelings, they want them to be happy, they're sympathetic, and they're empathetic. So I know that. So when I put all of that together, I can draw the conclusion that Alice really cares and adores her brother, as she should. Authors don't always tell readers everything they need to know to understand a story. Sometimes readers have to look for clues. When readers figure out something by thinking about facts and details in a story, they are drawing conclusions. Good readers draw conclusions as they read to help them understand what characters are like and what the story is about. So I asked you to think a little bit about two questions. So I said, is Alice smart? While you're reading, we came across some clues that would help us figure out the answer to that question. Is Alice smart? Well, yes, Alice is smart. And the story told me, or in the story I read, that she thinks of a clever way to change her brother's mood by sticking that piece of paper in the fortune cookie. So yeah, Alice is smart. We can draw a conclusion to answer that question, that Alice is smart and she's clever. Clever and smart are synonyms. They mean about the same thing. Now the other question I asked was, does Jeremy like Alice? So, yes, I think he does. So what clues tell us that? Well, at the end of the story, he says he is grateful to have her for a sister. So the fact that he made that comment tells us that, yes, he does like Alice, and he cares a lot for her too. All right, moving on. So we listened to the story, A Dinner Surprise. In the story, it said in the beginning that Alice thinks Jeremy is a good soccer player. Good is an example of an adjective. Later this week, in your grammar lessons, you're going to learn about adjectives, and you probably already know a little bit about adjectives from the classroom, maybe kindergarten even. Adjectives are words that describe a noun. So she's saying that he is a good soccer player. That's describing how he plays soccer. He's a good soccer player. So I want you to think about adjectives that describe Alice and adjectives that describe Jeremy. And you are going to make a Venn diagram on your own paper for Alice and Jeremy. So, describing these characters. So you're going to have to draw conclusions to complete your Venn diagram and describe these two characters. So this is a Venn diagram. If you don't remember, one side we're going to have Alice. The other side we're going to have Jeremy. So I want to get us started a little bit. We already figured out or drew the conclusion that Alice was smart. So on her side, we could put smart. Now, we also figured out that Jeremy is, what's the word? He's kind of caring. He cares for Alice. He appreciates her. So, Jeremy, let's think of a word that would describe Jeremy. Let's say appreciative. Now, something that describes the two of them is that, if they're kids, that means they're probably young, right? We can draw a conclusion. So, you're going to be doing your own Venn diagram using adjectives to describe Alice and Jeremy, and you're going to have to draw conclusions to complete it, right? You're going to have to use what you read in the text, or what we read in the text, and what you know to make conclusions about them, and using adjective. So I wrote Alice is smart, Jeremy's appreciative, and in the middle, young describes both of them. So that's a good start. What I want you to do is come up with your own 3 for each part of the Venn diagram. And you can draw your own Venn diagram in your Word work journal. That's an option. Or I have provided a Venn diagram for you in email, on the lesson plans, and also on the newsletter. So those are all options. So once your Venn diagram is done about Alice and Jeremy, please take a picture of it and send it to me. So, also, I realize you may need to go back and watch some of the video and listen to the story again to complete the Venn diagram, and that would be a really good strategy. All right, can't wait to see your Venn diagrams. See you later.